everybody, welcome back to the Grognards Corner, and we are looking at a little bit something different today. We're getting away from your traditional hex encounter, strategic, historical, or hypothetical war games, and we are taking a look at Tiny Battle Publishing's Swamp Devils from Blood Bayou. And if I was, technically adept, I'd put in some, haunting music or odd voice modulation to make it sound scarier. I have kind of been having my eye on Tiny Battle Publishing for a while. Tiny Battle Publishing, I did a podcast on it back when I was running the podcast. Kind of grew. It's Mark Walker of Lock and Load fame's one of his newest projects, and they specialize in doing small size scale battle games. You're talking about 88. Maybe 100 counters, a single 11 by 17 map, low complexity. I would basically call them the metagame concepts of today. Cheap, small, easy, quick, digestible war games. And if you've never checked out Tiny Battle Publishing, go check them out. They've got a fantastic series of games, and honestly, if I had the money, I'd probably own them all. It's got a nice mix of historical, hypothetical, alternative history. And I was sitting down because I wanted to focus on something from Tiny Battle Publishing. I was looking over everything they had. I was looking. It basically came down to this game and one other game. They're I can't even remember the name of it off the top of my head. It's their alternative history. Prussia invades England in the 1800s. In the late 1800s, kind of an off-the-wall, oddball type, based on a book novel that was written long before War of the Worlds, and it basically the novel kind of set the template for hypothetical invasion novels that would come out and have come out over the years. But I decided to go for Swamp Devils of Blood Bayou, pretty much because I don't think anybody's ever done a video preview on Swamp Devils from Blood Bayou, and I have a thing for cheesy horror monster movies. I can blame this on my mother. My mother is a huge fan of cheesy B-grade black and white monster movies from the 50s. And when we were growing up, when I was a kid, way back in the 70s, we had like 5 channels. We had ABC, NBC, CBS, PBS, and if we were lucky, 1 or 2 local stations. Not much in the way of cable, so Mom would always spend all of her time going through the TV guide trying to find, when these monster movies, these bad cheesy monster movies were on. And so I got inundated with all these classics, Plan 9 from Outer Space, and Creature from the Black Lagoon, and just any of them, all the really good classical monster movies from the 50s. And that kind of got me into wanting to see, more of them. And so I started really getting into the monster movies of the 70s. Pretty much the late 70s, early 80s, when you had the classics like Chud and Blood Beach and Humanoids from the Deep. Just absolutely love those movies. Where the killing is not really on screen, not really seen. At most you might see a shadow of a raised clawed hand, a scream from the victim, and then blood splatter on the wall. You get into more of the 80s, you start getting into the gore porn and the movies, trying to see how realistic and gross they could make the killing. I don't like those. Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street. I can leave all those behind. But so I've always had a love for bad, cheesy, B-grade monster movies. And I saw this and I was like, all right, I've got to get this game. Now, there's 2 ways that you can order from Tiny Battle Publishing. You can either order directly from them, and most of the games run around $19 to $23, $24, or you can go the print and play version, which cuts the price basically in half. Now, Swamp Devils from Blood Bayou, I went for the print and play version, and I think it was $9.99. And there was no tax, and I got the files. There was 4 PDFs. The map came in 2 different. There was one map file that had the map as an 11 by 17. Then there was another file that had the map broken up into 2 8.5 by 11. So, depending on how you wanted to print them out. Then there was the 10 pages of rules and one counter sheet of 88 counters. Now, so $9.99, it's like, all right, not too big of an investment. Headed up to my local Staples and went ahead and printed everything out and laminated what I could. So the rule book, I probably could have gone, you know, there's not much. There is some color plates in it, but for the most part, I probably could have gone black and white. This probably ran me the most. It's about $7 to print it out in color. Probably shouldn't have done that. That kind of ran the price tag up a little bit. And then the map itself is 11 by 17. I think it was like $2 or $3 to print the map out and laminate it, which I really suggest doing. And you know, it's this area movement, you know, showing the Blood Bayou area. Real life pictures, you know, very serviceable, very nice, pretty map. And then the counters, which I had printed out and laminated. Of course, they were, excuse me, they're double-sided. So here we have some of the swamp devils themselves. So, you know, double-sided. So I had to actually cut them out and post them back to back. But I've showed a video on how to do that before, and I didn't figure everybody needed to see it again. A little bit of a pain in the butt. Excuse me. A little pain in the butt because I actually had laminated initially. I probably shouldn't have done that. Probably should have cut them out, glued them back to back, then laminated them, then cut them out. But whatever. So basically, Swamp Devils from Blood Bayou. I have no idea why my throat is doing this to me right now. I've kind of come in over a cold, and I've been kind of well the last couple days. All of a sudden, I start talking, my throat goes out on me. What the hell? Oh, so anyways, printing everything out, laminating it, cost me like another $14. So, yeah, I really didn't save that much money over ordering it. I probably could have saved a big chunk of that money if I hadn't printed it out in color. So, you know, FML. I'll know better for next time. The basic concept is you've got 4 starting areas where the monsters are coming from. And you've got 4 different really big, bad abominations. Let's go ahead and take a look at them. So most of them are very Cthulhu-esque. And you've got the dark one here. And then there's the Nightmare. And the High Priest. And my favorite, you know, the Shapeshifter. I always love slimy shapeshifters. These are the 4 big bad abominations. And one of there's various ways that the humans can win. One of the ways is you got to kill 2 or 3 of the abominations. But they're really hard to kill. And all of them have special abilities and powers. And they all start off in different places. And basically the whole point is for the monsters to work their way across the map and get to the road to the village and exit as many monsters as they can off Road to Village. I think it requires 3 to 5. It's been a couple days since I read the rules. So you need to exit as many off as you can. Movement is fairly simple. You've got these yellow lines, paths between each zone. Anybody can use those. Then you've got these blue lines, which are only the monsters can use those. So you can try to, you know, get around the human lines. Monsters receive reinforcements every turn, a couple reinforcements every turn, plus some of the abominations have special abilities to bring new stuff in. Now the humans, they start off led by the sheriff, because you know he's heard all these rumors going on in the swamp, and that there be illegal what those monsters be doing in the swamp. And of course, you've always got the crazy, but actually eventually ends up being right professor. A little side note, that's actually Mark H. Walker's visage there. So, and you've got the plucky heroine. and a whole host of humans. You've got lumberjacks who can move extra far. Normal villagers, which are basically cannon fodder. Let's see if we can zoom in on some of these humans. So we got lumberjacks there, and villagers. And you've got scientists. Scientists are pretty cool. If they're involved in a combat, they can actually, let's see if it'll zoom in. It may not zoom in at this range. Let's zoom back out. Oops, wrong way. Scientists are involved in a combat. They can build up science points. That's one of the ways to win. You get 10 science points and you win the game. And you've got deer hunters, which have got range attacks. They can attack into other areas that they're adjacent to. And you've got bikers, which if they move into a combat, they get they get extra attacks. So at its core, 10 pages, not really a lot you're going to be running into, rules heavy. Like I said, nice, quick, easy game. Could probably get through it. Overall, the game is 20 turns. Start one, all the way through, 20 turns. You got some reinforcements here that are written on the side. Now, I know it says the reinforcements, like turn 3, turn 4, 5, all this other stuff. And you can take the counters and just put them on the turn track. But there's a tiny part of me that wishes they'd have put, some type of asterisk or some type of marking on the turn track to indicate that this is a reinforcement. Even though it's written right here and I can just put the counters on the freaking turn track, it still would have been nice. I don't know why I thought that. It just would have been nice. Whatever. And then you got a whole bunch of combat counters. You've got green combat, blue combat, white combat, and red combat. And that's where the unique mechanic of this game comes into play. You need your handy dandy randomizing Mark 1 Mod 0 cup chip pull device. Now combat always has, I think it's a red and a white token in it. So you put the red and the white token. You always have a red and a white token in there. And then whatever's in the space. If you'll look at the Swamp Devil, you got that red 1, that's its combat value. So if a Swamp Devil was in combat, it would end up putting a single green combat chit into the cup. There were 4 Swamp Devils, then there'd be 4 cups. Humans get to put in blue, and I believe scientists get to put in white. And then basically you just start drawing chits out from it. If you draw a blue, then a monster's killed. If you draw a green, a human's killed. If you draw a red, 1 from each side is killed and combat automatically ends. And I can't remember what white does. I think white, if you pull that, you get a science marker out of it if you've got a scientist in the fight with you. And that's basically combat. I mean, you just keep pulling until one side or the other runs out. Or you draw the red chit. There are a couple places, like you see this swamp has +1 combat. That gives +1 combat for the or 1 extra combat chit for the swamp devils, and then humans. There are a couple places where they get +1 chits. Like I said, the bikers have got a kind of a special ability. You see how they've got that 2-1 for combat. If they move into combat, they get to put 2 dice in, basically, using their bikes as they slam into combat, so they get an extra chit in that. So that's kind of cool. Lumberjacks get to move 2, and like I said, deer hunters, they can shoot into an adjacent space and can kill a monster on like a 9. You do need a 10-sided dice. There's the occasional morale check that you have to make. And then, for the deer hunter. Now, getting reinforcements, since the monsters are always continually getting reinforcements, that's not too hard to figure out. They get like 2 or 3 swamp devils a turn. Now, the humans, unfortunately, they have to actually kill stuff. And for every swamp devil that they kill, oh, poor little dead swamp devil, they get to basically use that to buy reinforcements. They can pick and choose whatever they want, be it a villager, lumberjack, however they want. And just the beginning of every turn, they turn in the dead carcasses to buy new troops. Now, they do start off with several, like 5, I think. Again, it's been a while since I read the rules. Apologize. And the 3 ways that the humans can win kill 2 or 3 of the abominations, get 10 science, or they get to they can manage to clear out. There are 4 starting locations, and you also have these 4 decoy markers. Which, this is face side, and then hey, decoy on the back, and the real one. There's one of them. Source. So at the beginning of the game, you put these, upside down or, question side mark up. So you don't know, where the exact source of the creatures are coming from. If you can get to a space cleared of all monsters and it actually being a source, well, then you win the game that way. Other than that, monsters win, or if they get to turn 20. If you get to turn 20 and the humans haven't won, well, then the beasties automatically win. Yeah, that's the basic down and dirty of it. I will probably be attempting to play this and getting a video of it very shortly. But like I said, it's just Swamp Devils from Blood Bayou tickled my funny bone. Had to get it, had to give it a try. And like I said, I think this is actually the first look we've had at Swamp Devils from Blood Bayou. So, enjoy, everybody. As always, appreciate you listening. Subscribe, like, you want to. You love me. I love me. Why don't you love me? I know, I'm really struggling with these out, these segueing out moments. Maybe I'll work on that. All right, folks, I'll talk to everybody later. Bye.